What's up, guys? We're out here scouting a new area today. I just split off from Ted and Gooch and Jake. They're scouting the other side of this piece. We've never been in here before. It's one of these wide open CRP grass type areas. Pretty good size. I've been going right here along this fence row. You can see the transition behind me from timber to grass. And I'm finding piles of scraping limbs. Look at this thing. You can tell it's been broken off in years past a bunch of times. And right here below it, you kind of, I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but that grass is dead right there underneath. Probably because that scraped down to bare dirt. And then right up here past it, there's another scraping limb there where there's no leaves out there on the ends of the tips of the limbs. I just found several trails coming across through this little fence row right here and out into this grass field. So this is a spot that I'm gonna mark. Let's go see what else we can get into here. Bunch of old rubs right here in front of me and this little patch of locust looks like. Big old rubs right here. Milkweed. I love hunting this type of stuff for deer because you can get up and observe it from a long distance. You can see way out across here. And little patches of cover like this with, you know, 8-10 trees in it don't look like much, but oftentimes that will hold deer during the fall. Deer will bed in there, and especially mature bucks, because that little spot right there is probably overlooked by other hunters. And I mean, if a buck is bedded down in that stuff, he can see you coming because he can watch the rim of this bowl. If anybody's coming in here to get at him right there within 300-400 yards, they're gonna pop up over this ridge and he's gonna see him. He's gonna be out of there well before you even get your shot. Don't overlook stuff like that. Can be really good. Found a little bedroom back here. This is a tiny little woodlot on the back of this place, only about a couple acres in size. Got private land that direction and more fields and CRP grass and stuff out this way. The access is that direction, and most of this thick cover is out on the point of this woodlot. I'm on the back side of the thick cover right here where it transitions from thick to open behind me, as you can see. These bucks will probably bed up in this transition right here on northerly winds, which means the wind will be blowing from the main access. Most people will walk across that high ridge. There's only one access point on this whole area with their scent blowing in this direction, with bucks bedded in the edge of this thicket watching back towards the private land. Then if they smell danger from that way, they can just escape over onto private where there's more security cover and be safe. Out of sight, out of mind. Never even know that they're here. This is good looking stuff back in here though. Real good. Lots of old rubs. Lots and lots of old rubs. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this rub up here. This thing is huge. Several huge rubs. Biggest rub I've seen this summer. I'm on a pretty good trail right here. Y'all can see there's an intersection right here. Big trail here. Another trail right here. Look at this thing. Old rub right here. Old rub right there. There's a bed right here. Look at this. Good grief. Big bed down there. You can see it right there. More beds up in here. Heavy trails and just rubs everywhere up through there. Up here in these cedars on this side hill with wind coming over the top from the access point, watching down in through these open woods behind them. Excellent spot. Just old rubs everywhere in here. There's a slob living in this place for sure. This is the most deer sign I've seen. Haven't seen any people sign yet either, which is good. This is filthy. Just exactly what I've been looking for. Even smells like buck in here. Hopefully Ted and Jake and Gooch are finding stuff too.
Just try to scare him. What'd you find?
That's a bed. Jesus Christ, it scares me. My heart is really pounding. I thought it was a deer getting up at first.
Thought he was coming for you?
Yeah. Gonna grab him by the horns.
This spot's real similar to where Warb shot that decoy buck last year. Lots of open ground with some terrain, and then it drops down into these creek bottoms that offer some real good cover for deer. So seems like it'd probably be a good spot this fall. Just walked up on a doe bedded down over in this tree. She's bedded right up along this creek. I was just walking the high side. Looked down and I could see her laying here. Right in here somewhere. I was right up there along the fence line. Somebody's old ladder stand. Looks like it's been there for a while. Couple of beds right here it looks like. Back up in there as well. Pretty big bed right there. Packed down and everything. There goes Jake. I can see him clear across there. Good spot for one to lay. They can see out over everything with the wind blowing over their back.
Alright, so we've been walking for probably a little over an hour now. 4 of us covered this piece pretty quickly. It's probably only 140, 150 acre piece, so it's a good way of scouting if you can get a group of guys together and you can really knock some areas out quick. But Warb just texted me he's back at the car.
Looks good. What'd you find?
There's a bunch of sign just right in this first draw here. Lots
You
of old
bumped a
rubs.
decent buck out of there when you were walking up.
Did it?
Yeah, he came right across the top.
There was a bunch of does down in there too.
Yeah, I figured that there'd probably be more deer on that side because of those beans. Right now,
Here we are.
here we are at the car waiting. No trespassing. Grubs there. I think that might have been a licking branch on that tree back here.
Just started rolling because I thought this looked good. And you heard it. One jumped up right there. Just got into a bunch of fresh beds. Following the edge of this little finger of timber. And there's a pretty good trail with a lot of old scrapes along the edge of it. Got a small pond up here. A bunch of trails going up that way. Just checking for sign along stuff like this, like old scrapes on these cedars or just branches along the edge here. Kind of burning through it right now just to see what it all looks like. Deer bedded along the edge here. I'm guessing I'll spook some more probably. Just spooked a small buck. And anytime you ever spook a deer, or at least anytime I ever spook a deer, I like to pay attention where they go. Because usually they're going to the next closest security cover. And that's right where Warb and I agreed that we both wanted to head. He's going to walk one draw, I'm going to walk this draw, but we both wanted to meet up at that same spot.
Alright, I've been going along this pond dam, and right back over my shoulder about 20 yards there is a big scrape, and there's a really heavy trail going right along this pond dam. Right here is a really big bed, and there's old licking branches right here, as you can see, that are all tore up. There's hair in the bed, and then right here is a rub, old rub. Seems like around these ponds is really good habitat, and the deer like to spend a lot of time there, and the bucks especially. I'm gonna keep moving.
Come on, Ted.
Call him Gooch.
He's right down there.
I know he's looking for that lens hood that he lost.
Yeah.
I was trying to tell him not to worry about it. Let's get another one. I don't know. Did you see some deer?
Spooked a couple does, a small buck, and then something that sounded a little bigger. The one I didn't see was early on.
That's probably the buck we filmed.
It was a buck.
Mm-hmm.
Decent.
Decent. Not huge.
Yeah.
You spooked a big doe, looked like,
Yeah.
and that buck, they came right down in front of me and Gooch. I think he got a little bit of footage of him. And then you spooked a spike,
I saw that, yeah.
and he ran right over into that thick
I
stuff.
spooked a couple deer just right down behind the camera here too.
Oh, you did?
Does, yeah.
Oh. Well, we walked down there. We must not have spooked him. That bigger buck never left that bottom.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about too, and I spooked them as they were all running towards
Yeah.
the most
The thickest
secure area. Yeah.
I don't know what he spooked. He just walked off of there and went into that bottom. That's why I'm up here, in case he ran something out of there. I wanted to see what it was.
Uh-huh.
That spike ran right across the top of that hill into the thickest patch right there. You did see a lot of does though, or a good small group of does. That's good.
There's little pockets all along that draw that are just like big enough where a deer could just lay in, and a couple willows or even just like a couple smaller trees like that.
Yeah.
Like that's where everything that I jumped up got out of something like that.
In this tree right here, you can get in. It's a thorny locust, but there's one trunk that comes off the back there that's pretty straight. But you could get up in that tree and you can see a lot of country from there. If you had a decoy up along the edge of the ridge somewhere, might be a good spot. Any deer going down that ditch are going to be able to see it.
This seems like more of a rut cruising type spot where they're just going to follow the limited cover that there is.
Yeah, I agree.
Those
spots probably got deer in it all the time.
Yeah. Any luck?
Nope. Already got one on order.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
As soon as I cut this camera, Aaron's going to lay into him. It's the kind of guy he is.
Nope, it's just a mistake. It's not a problem at all. Well, Gooch, don't let it get you down, huh?
I literally walked 50 yards and lost it too.
Tell you about when I scared him?
You scare him?
Like the most scared I've been in a while.
Yeah. I saw him coming at me at that last spot and I got down, just let him get like 10 yards away and just sprinted out.
I was looking at a buck bed too, and so I thought this deer was coming at me.
That ditch is sharp down in there.
It is, yeah.
There's not a ton of crossings in it, it doesn't look like real worn crossings or anything. It looks like a lot of these other areas, there's probably 8 to 10 does living on it among all these little draws and stuff. Although I haven't seen anything come running out of this. There's does over here, they'll be over here at some point.
I didn't see any human sign at this spot either.
I didn't either.
Find any big sheds?
I don't know, I was looking though.
Dang it.
Look anything?
No deer, no. But a lot of real good sign on that pond dam. Old rubs and scrapes, big bed.
I think there's deer bedding in and around that pond pretty regular.
Guy has a trail camera there though.
Oh,
Four-wheeler path going to it.
well, that's less than ideal.
Yeah.
Let's head to the ranch, boys.
Gooch lost the...
I figured he would.
Yeah.
I saw it was loose last time.
Thanks for telling me.
ATD. Right, Wood?
Attention to detail. And
Attention to
respect.
detail.
I don't know anything about respect.
If this younger generation had a little more respect and paid a little more attention to detail, we'd be a lot better off. We'd be a lot better off.